All right, thank you, Kate. This morning, the consequences of President Trump and Elon Musk's decision to gut USAID is hitting home. U.S. farmers say they are suffering of the consequences of those freezes of money. The Supreme Court yesterday rejected the funding freeze, but when the money flows again, no one knows. CNN's Shimon Percupez went to the heartland to talk with farmers.
Actually, why I do it, look, we feed people. And that's a good feeling. What I produce here, I stand behind my crop. I don't produce anything on my farm that I wouldn't eat. Matter of fact, I'll show you. I'll chew some soybeans for you. It tastes good. I'm going right here on my farm.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like McDonald's hamburger.
No.
Yeah. That's what's in them.
John Boyd Jr. is a fourth-generation farmer. He grows wheat, corn, and soybeans here on his 1,000-acre farm in Southern Virginia. He also founded the National Black Farmers Association, and he's no fan of President Donald Trump.
The president casts a net of uncertainty. Every time he makes one of these wild announcements that people are saying, yay, tariffs to China, tariffs to Mexico, tariffs to Canada, USAID, it's over, it's done. Every time he makes those type of drastic announcements, he affects America's farmers.
Within days of taking office, President Trump dismantled USAID, a humanitarian program that's been a lifeline for the most vulnerable around the world, and a critical source of income for U.S. farmers, paying them hundreds of millions of dollars a year for their crops. He also froze some funding for farmers and rattled trade markets.
We take it totally for granted. And what we're doing in this country right now, we're gambling with all that.
Gambling with farmers.
Gambling with farmers' lives. They're gambling with my life. They're gambling with my livelihood, man.
Farmers like Boyd rely on loans to plant for the upcoming season, with the hope that the harvest will pay it off and bring home some profit. In fact, about 1 million American farmers rely on the USDA for financial assistance every year. But just days before planting season starts, Boyd says he hasn't been able to get a loan yet. And he says he's not the only one.
They want you to show them on paper how you're good for that operating loan and how you're going to pay it back. I can't pay it back with $8 beans and $6 beans and $3 corn.
The majority of grain exported from the United States is stored in grain elevators. In Kansas alone, one grain elevator can export millions of dollars of goods.
This is in Pawnee County in Kansas. This is a grain elevator site. This is where farmers will bring their grain, stuff that they've harvested, like milo and wheat and soybean and corn. It is stored in these bins, these large concrete bins, and then sold to exporters, companies who are willing to buy that. And right now, it is very difficult to move some of this stuff.
They could come in and sell wheat for $5.58. It was down 14 cents today.
Kim Barnes has been buying and selling each year's harvest for Kansas farmers for over 50 years.
All these bins are full, and they're full of milo.
That's $5 million worth of grain, Barnes says. Grain that countries like Ethiopia and others depend on for food aid.
And so what's going on with the milo? Why do you have so much of that right now? What are you seeing in the market?
We just don't have any market for it. There's nobody wanting to buy it.
5 months ago, Barnes says USAID bought over 200 million metric tons of milo from American farmers. Today, with no market for that grain, he's desperate. One potential lifeline, a proposal in Washington for the USDA to continue USAID's food distribution program.
You're optimistic that the USAID stuff will get moved into the USDA and the program will get...
And we'll go on.
But John Boyd doesn't share that optimism. He's not just worried about the future of farming, but for the future of his own farm.
I have 4 children. And I know that my kids have watched me scuffle, throughout my career. And they're not going to want to do this if this administration continues to make it more difficult than it already is.